We've all had tough days at the office, but some actors dedicated to giving it their all took their work a few steps too far. Though these critically acclaimed, often award-winning performances are a delight to watch, the experience of preparing for and recovering from these roles did a number on the actors involved and left a lasting impression, not always for the positive. Here are several actors who went the extra mile for their craft. Isabelle Adjani, Possession. Any horror buff knows the subway scene in Andrei Zalewski's 1981 Possession to be one of the most horrifying, shocking moments of body horror ever to grace the silver screen. And if you haven't seen the film, buckle up, you're in for a treat. Isabelle Adjani won a Caesar Award for her performance, but the intense physical and emotional demands of the role made for an extremely difficult recuperation. Adjani later told a French magazine that it took her years of therapy to get Anna out of her system, and that she would never again attempt another role like it. Adrien Brody, The Pianist. Though Brody's physical transformation for 2002's The Pianist is obvious, the actor has also discussed the enormous mental and emotional strain of portraying a Holocaust survivor, which earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor in 2003.
You know, my experiences of making this film made me very aware of the sadness and the dehumanization of people at times of war.
To prepare for the role, Brody gave up his apartment, sold his car, disconnected his phones, and moved to Europe. But it was the emotional effect of intense hunger during his extreme crash diet that he found the most surprising and difficult challenge to deal with. Brody told the BBC, "I've experienced loss, I've experienced sadness in my life, but I didn't know the desperation that comes with hunger." There were moments when he wasn't sure he'd get out of the experience with his sanity intact, saying it took a year and a half to, quote, settle back into things. Colin Firth, The King's Speech. Colin Firth plays the future King of England, George VI, in the Oscar-winning The King's Speech, and has to give a number of speeches in addition to a number of other royal duties. The film has a villain of sorts in the form of a near-debilitating stammer that ruins nearly every speech George gives until he hires a vocal coach.
Prince Albert, Frederick, Arthur, George.
Firth himself also worked closely with the voice coach and watched recordings of George speaking to better emulate both his vocal shortcomings as well as his physical mannerisms and nervous tics when stammering. Firth immersed himself so deeply in the role that he admitted in an interview that he still occasionally lapsed into the stammer when speaking casually, even briefly stammering during the interview itself. It's worth noting that this happened in May of 2011, a full 8 months after the film premiered in September of the previous year. Judging by how flawlessly he enunciated every syllable in Kingsman: The Secret Service while taking down thugs with an umbrella in 2014, it looks like Firth has since gotten over the stammer. Hugh Laurie, House. During the casting process of House, the producers famously explained that they wanted a quintessentially American actor to play Dr. House, shortly before hiring British actor Hugh Laurie. Laurie apparently got the role because his American accent on his audition tape was so convincing nobody realized he was British. The director of the pilot even pointed to the tape and said, "See, this is what I want, an American guy."
I was expecting you in my office 20 minutes ago.
Really? That's odd, because I had no intention of being in your office 20 minutes ago.
Laurie also really went for it when it came to walking with a limp to portray the cane-using House. So much so, the actor still walked with a limp in 2015 after 8 straight years of pretending to have one on set. Laurie also reportedly attempted to ease the load on his leg by occasionally switching the leg with the limp, something he claims nobody ever noticed or called him on during filming or in the years since the show ended. Apparently, Laurie's acting is so good he can make people overlook both his Britishness and the fact he didn't always limp with the same leg, despite that being a defining aspect of the character. Bob Hoskins, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. One of late British actor Bob Hoskins' most famous roles was that of alcoholic LA gumshoe Eddie Valent in the film Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Hoskins had to spend several hours a day for 8 months talking to and acting alongside cartoon characters who weren't really there.